this union here is our version of a global norm, a global entity where we can work together.
Okay.
And this is what we're developing now. The thing under the old nation state, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the people exist, but the strength now has to come globally.
Yeah.
It just can't happen in one specific area within those geographical boundaries. Those geographical boundaries don't exist. And the reason that it can't exist like that is because motion comes from the unity of opposites.
Mm-hmm.
So the opposition, the other side, whatever you want to call them, the global ruling class, they're global now. They're no longer, I mean, because you look at this board, there are people from all over. Very, extremely important that we do this on a global scale. Because our enemies, I don't know another word to use.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find better words.
Yeah.
But this opposing force is global now.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't trenched itself absolutely yet. It's in the beginning stages, and so are we.
Yeah.
So this is what caused the vacant houses that you see out there, the unemployment, jobs are no longer here. So this is what me and Tyrone were talking about. The institutions that operate under the nation state entity can no longer operate within those boundaries because there's no tax base.
Yeah.
And they don't care. It's not that they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in trouble. They're developing on a global scale. And it's chaos before they get the things that they want to have.
Yeah.
And if we expect to survive as human beings and heal ourselves of racism, misogyny, and all other polarizations, me and Tom were talking about our opposite of polarization of racism, misogyny, which create division. Ours is the opposite. We want to create collectivism, egalitarianism on a global scale within this household, within this block. The other entities of separatism work very well under the culture of capitalism. They work very well for them. You know, black people not having rights, white people thinking that they have rights and don't have any.
Yeah.
Women not having any rights, black or white. Children not having any rights. Ants not having any rights. Air not having any rights. Water not having any rights. Soil not having any rights. They control all of these living entities and have separated us. I'm reading this book called The Death of Nature. I forgot the author's name. And this is something that she talks about.
Yeah.
Which is very important. I don't want to keep
I mean, the interesting thing in Detroit, we've got a platform that we could start building some of these ideas. You know, some of the things in Scotland are quite good. There's lots of good templates. And there's lots of good templates, economic templates. And there's no reason why when we're building the gardens and building the community, we can start using our own templates, and our own ideas of...
I want to study that, seriously.
Of common goods and stuff which we have in our country. And when you look at the work the Panthers and stuff were doing, they were doing that. So it's just a continuation of that work and using that knowledge, you know, to build a series of ideas that we can build communities in rather than the ones you've just described. Which is why we should talk about the good ideas from Scotland coming here and the good ideas from Detroit going to Scotland.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in that. I want to exchange go in great detail because you can see how things operate on a nation state scale with imperialism. Yeah. And you can see how things are operating on a global scale with laws of coercion still, you know, laws of force. Like they all say, we're going to enforce this law because it goes against the grain of all natural elements and entities that are in the universe. So since this is the information age, we have access to things like this now, and we're becoming enlightening, and they can't stop that.
Well, that's right. And the thing you're saying, the people who are on top, and they've been doing this for ages, working together and working globally. And they you know, I mean, I think of like in the 70s, Rockefeller's Trilateral Commission, you know, they said, right, all of this stuff happened in the 60s. All these people are starting to say, hey, well, you know, we want our rights. We want to be heard. And they're like, well, what's happening here? Why is this going on? Why are all these people complaining? And one of their scholars, who was looking at this, Samuel Huntington, said, all right, it's a excess of democracy. And his prescription was, let's increase public apathy. And the thing is, so they analyzed the problem and they found a solution, and they have spent the last 30, 40 years implementing it. And I think it would be great if we kind of take that same sort of idea, right, let's analyze the problem, let's look at it globally, and let's come up with our solutions, and let's just implement it. And I mean, and I think it's stuff like, it's not a big overarching, here's our scheme and let's all do it. It's this sort of thing that you're doing here. And if we all start thinking in this way and thinking, right, this is my goal and I'm going to get there. And it's just a case of, okay, well, that didn't work, I'm going to change it. And then we move forward, you know?
Mao talked about that. Theory and practice,
theory
and practice over and over again.
That's it.
And truth is the criteria to practice. What was without practice, the subjective will always be the subjective.
Mm-hmm.
With the practice and our participation and the dialogue that we're being able to create and endure and engage in, which is very hard because of all the polarizations that exist under capitalism.
Yeah.
It was easy to function like that because I had money in my pocket.
Yeah.
So what I need with you, what I need with you. I mean, even within the family.
Yeah.
You know, well, when you're 18, get out the house and get on your own.
Yeah.
You know, but now reality is setting in. We're returning to a collectivism type of atmosphere that we can take advantage of now. You know? So we're learning how to do this. We're learning. And that's why what you're saying is so important. We don't know. But we're trying to create an atmosphere of non-marginalism where we all can participate.
Yeah.
We don't quite know how to do that yet. You know, being dependent upon our father and mother, you know, of capitalism.
Yeah.